Whew, that was terrible. Pacers destroyed by the Celtics. They lose by 50 without Tyrese Haliburton. What happened? What went wrong? Can they fix it? Plus other thoughts about the Pacers season with Jhaq, Chris. It's all coming today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and SI, and today, the Celtics made 15 more threes than the Pacers. They made more than 20 more free throws. They defended better. They were better. We knew that. Tyrese Haliburton didn't play. The Celtics were going to win. We all kind of knew that. They boat raced the Pacers. They win by 50. What the heck went wrong? The Pacers didn't even turn it over that much, but they couldn't make anything. They couldn't stop anything. Embarrassing performance. Rick Carlisle said it after the game. What happened? We'll break it all down with Jhaq, Chris today, plus lots more thoughts, including Jarace Walker's bright spot in the fourth quarter. More thoughts on the Pacers season. How Jhaq takes notes. I promise it's interesting. And plenty more on the Pacers. It's all coming today on Locked On Pacers. Let's get right to it. The most interesting man in media is here. I won't say his name. I'll say his screen name. It's Jhaq, sounds like Shaq. So Jhaq is more accurate. Yeah. Covering the Pacers for Nuvo. I was hoping we'd have a little bit more, at least kind of interesting of a game to talk about. Definitely didn't expect the Pacers to win when Tyrese Haliburton was announced as out, but that was an ugly one. That was an ugly game.
Yeah, it's good to be here, but that was a terrible game pre-game here. So that was tough, but I did predict the Pacers to win. So yeah, I was only 80 points off, so that was good.
80 points. Did you thought they'd win by 30?
Yeah, in my humble and unbiased opinion.
Oh man, some people just clicked out a different podcast immediately for that one. So
no.
It rhymes with Shaq, right? You say
it's Shaq with a J. Because Jack and Shaq rhyme.
I always say it like French, like Jacques.
Yeah, I just don't correct the French one. I let that one slide. That's okay.
Jhaq covers the Pacers for Nuvo, and we were going to talk about the Celtics game and then a little bit on the Pacers season. We're going to change that balance a little bit because, this was just brutal. Okay, so let's talk about everything that went wrong for the Pacers, because there was a couple things that we'll talk about at the end that were okay, or you can smile about if you're Rick Carlisle. Okay, Tyrese Haliburton didn't play. That sucks. They're going to win. They went, what were they, 7-19 last year when he didn't play? I don't expect much from them in those instances. They went 5 of 37 from deep. This is one game after I said they went 12 for 46. I said, they won't shoot that bad much this season. How about a way worse immediately?
Yeah.
The Pacers took more threes than the Celtics and made 15 fewer. That's insane.
Yeah. I had to break it down. Every 4 the Celtics hit, we hit 1. It was a terrible ratio. We were just not getting anything from there, and we couldn't stop them at all.
Oh, but wait. The Celtics attempted 28 free throws on 20 Pacers fouls, another one of their problems. They made 27 of them. The Pacers made 7 free throws the whole game. They attempted 12. That's a problem, too. Problem 3, no Tyrese Haliburton, meant very little ball movement for the Pacers. Their highest assists man had 5 in this game. So everything the Pacers had kind of done well when they were clicking this season, getting open threes, moving the ball well, those kind of things, gone, right? And then their defensive issues, which they've had this season, were even more magnified because they were playing in transition so much. And the Celtics have probably the best top 6 in the NBA. They barely even had to play Al Horford. Al Horford played 11 minutes, and the Celtics just were unstoppable, right? Bruce Brown had the Tatum assignment. He was too short for it. He can't guard wings that are that big that well. Jaylen Brown shot under 50% from the field, but he was still cooking when he needed to. Porzingis is a tough matchup for Turner. He didn't even shoot that well, and he was a plus 27. Drew Holiday was too strong for everybody. I don't think Derek White missed a shot. I don't actually believe that he was 7 for 10 like the stat line says. They had no answer for anybody. And I know that they're not a good defensive team and they're trying new things, but that was a very alarming performance for them on that end of the floor.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have an answer for Sam Hauser. Like, that was just everything he shot went in, too. It was just like, it felt like one of those days where it was just like, so bad. I mean, looking at the plus minus, it's just brutal. I don't think there's a single plus for the Pacers.
Sam Hauser was one made basket away from beating every Pacer in points.
Jesus.
He could not miss. His form is so funky, but Tyrese Haliburton taught me not to worry about that as a thing for players. Yeah, the Celtics couldn't miss, and they were generating basically whatever look they wanted. And yet they only had one more assist than the Pacers, right? This wasn't a thing where they were coming down the floor and running some complicated thing, and the Pacers got lost in rotation, and it was like a good shot. It was just like, throw it to Tatum. He isolates his defender. He scores. Pick and pop. Porzingis is open. It was just so easy for them all night in a way that was like, if they played this game 100 times with the same players, I think the Celtics would have won 99. They were that much better at every facet of the game. I have no good takeaways for the Pacers. They just got their butt kicked in a way that was alarming to me, right?
Yeah.
A game like this, I know how reliant the Pacers are on Haliburton, right? The second he got hurt last year, they lost 7 in a row. Like I said, 7-19 without him last year. I know that. But the hope is that this year you find some answers of success when he's not on the floor, whether that's they can slow the game down and play well, or they could defend a little bit better. They can generate some other open shots. And that wasn't there. And then the other advantage they were expected to have, or at least I thought they would have, is their bench would kick butt. Because the Celtics have a great top six and nothing else, their bench did not kick butt at all, even though TJ McConnell had a pretty nice game. So they had, they had nothing. It was like a JV team versus a varsity team. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I guess there was one highlighted part I liked. There was a 3-play stretch where Jarace Walker was involved heavily with scoring or assisting.
Oh, we'll get to him.
I think that was about it of what I liked. I don't know. I think missing Tyrese really hurt, but also missing Jalen Smith kind of gave us no backbone for a bench. I think those guys were both dearly missed.
That is true. Yes, Jalen Smith was also out. Isaiah Jackson, I actually thought defended pretty well. He had 4 blocks and 3 rebounds and made 60% of his shots and switched on to Peyton Pritchard a few times productively. But he just can't space on offense like Jalen has been this season, and is not nearly the screen setter Jalen has been this season. So yeah, they couldn't get the same looks. It's almost hard to talk about this game because of how bad they are. Every little thing you could point to about the Pacers that they've done this season well, or that they're hoping to do better this season, they did awful. They got completely embarrassed. It's the first thing Rick Carlisle said in this presser was it was embarrassing. Mathurin played okay, I guess. He hit over half his shots and wasn't letting guys by him on defense. I would guess people asked a lot about this after the game, at least. He had an injury. Everybody's like, why do you only play 15 minutes? I'm like, he was hurt. Why would he play a lot? That's a guess, though. I don't know that.
That was
none of their starters. I was
assuming as well.
Obi's the only starter who played more than 21 minutes, and it's because he was in the fourth quarter. And he actually was okay as well, but okay on offense. Everybody sucked on defense. This was miserable. This is a game where you go back and you watch the film 3 times as a team, right? I know every fan will just try to flush it and forget about it, but the team's got to dig through everything and say, we have to fix this, we have to fix this, we have to fix that. You've got to be better at this, you've got to be better at that. It's got to be like those Nuggets playoff sessions where they tell everybody they have to roast somebody else, and something they did in the game. Call them out.
Yeah, it poked a ton of holes. So there's a lot of stuff to work on, at least.
Bruce Brown is somebody I kind of want to talk about from this game. And he's kind of like the face of their struggles in this game to me. Not that he, I don't think he's Jason Tatum's stopper. Nobody really is. I don't think of him as that. He's too short. But he was kind of if the Pacers were going to be better to me, they're basically their rotation is very similar to last year with Brown and Toppin in there. If they're going to be a lot better, it was because Bruce Brown's this huge elevator. And when he goes 1 for 6 with 1 assist and can't stop his primary matchup, then he's not doing that, right? So then they're kind of the same young team they were last year, and you don't have Haliburton, that just can't work. So he had a really rough game, and this was kind of the game that exposed the limitations he has as a ceiling raiser. Of course, he pairs very well with Haliburton. That's part of the appeal and part of what makes him good. But when he can't play with Tyrese Haliburton, instead he's playing with Nembhard, who was okay, but he was inaccurate. Then he can't be that level of guy. He's not going to pull your floor up that much. And so even though, yes, I think he's a good player, he's going to help this team. A game like this is not where he's going to do that. and he did not play well, and he kind of represented all the stuff that went wrong for the Pacers. He missed all of his threes, and he couldn't stop the guy he was tasked with guarding.
Yeah. I don't know. We need like a number 2 guy, like a definitive guy. And like the hope would be that Bruce Brown would like step up and we'd kind of like play around him. So like a plan B, maybe a plan BB for Bruce Brown as the guy would be like the move here. But it just feels like there's like a need for someone to fill that major hole where Tyrese is not there. And maybe 2 guys because it's so like he does so much. But like there's just no one really like taking command of the team out today.
Hey, everybody, have to talk to you about the great people over at PrizePicks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, it's PrizePicks. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including the pros and the sharks, you just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players and stat projections. Watch the winnings roll in. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from their specials league, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions, or play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz. You can now find community plays under their promos tab of the app. View entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. They even offer a reboot policy, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return. Rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. It's an absolute blast. They have quick withdrawals, easy gameplay. Check it out at prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. First deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. To me, the hope would be that it's Matherin, right? Like, because he can size guys up and score. And like, he made some quick decisions with the ball in this game. He made a great post-entry pass read to Miles Turner. Miles didn't score, so he had no assists. But like he couldn't do enough in this game. Again, I have no idea what the injury limited him. So they had nobody to be that guy. They tried Nembhard, and at first they were up 6-4, and they were like flying up and down. I was like, hey, all right. Yeah, that did not last. So this was an epic butt kicking. Like, everybody's got to look in the mirror. Coaching staff didn't have them prepared. I bet Rick Carlisle says this game's on me. I haven't heard his whole presser yet, but I almost guarantee he says that. They've got to shoot better. Every single player has to shoot better. Only one guy made more than 1 3. Do you know who it was? Don't look, look at me.
I'm looking. I already looked, but I'll give you a hint. It's a rookie.
Ben Shepherd, the only guy who made more than 1 3 in this game. They made 5 of 37. I would love to know that. Did I say that already? Like, when's the last time in NBA history the team that took more threes made 15 less than the other team? Like, that is insane to me.
No, that has to be a one-off. A score
never happened before. I mean, that is like, even like, obviously the Pacers played bad, but that is like a luck element, right? Like that's insane. That's completely insane. The Pacers got wrecked. Their defense was terrible. Their offense was terrible. They have to regroup and be better. But there was a bright spot, actually 2, that I want to talk about, Jhaq. One, you mentioned him. One, Jarace Walker. People were clamoring for him to get in pretty much in the second quarter. This game was decided pretty early. He played the whole fourth, 12 minutes, 4 for 6. He scored right away. 2 rebounds. Most importantly for me, 3 assists. Good ball movement. Short roll pass to Obi for an assist as the 5. Jarace Walker played the 5. That's something interesting if you're the Pacers. Made a pull-up jumper off the dribble after a stinky opener for him where he was 0 for 5. He looked really solid in this game in a way that was very promising, even though the team still got their butt kicked because the Celtics were on fire in that fourth quarter. But Jarace Walker, definitely the biggest takeaway from this one. And again, I continue to wonder, can the Pacers find like real minutes for him? Ben Shepherd was in the rotation during this game. Jarace Walker wasn't, but he looked very good.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be more concerned about his minutes if Carlisle wasn't the coach, but like, we see how he works with rookies and makes them earn it. Last year, he did get Nembhard a lot and Matherin a lot. So hope that there is minutes out there for him. But like, I don't know, if the defense is so bad on the starting lineup, like, I don't know, maybe give him a shot for some more minutes with the starting unit there.
Token starter, play the first 6 minutes of a half, never play again the whole half.
Yeah, I don't know. There's such small sample size. It'd be nice to get some data on him. just see how he plays.
Yeah, it's like I wondered if they would turn to a rookie with Haliburton out. The answer was Shepherd. Also, one of Walker's assists to a Ben Shepherd 3. Then you got to play the gif of Squidward yelling "future" in the Krusty Krab, right? It was a nice play. Shepherd played all right. He had 14 and a half minutes in this game. Like they actually turned to him for something serious in this one. But his defense was rough. 3 fouls for Ben Shepherd in under 15 minutes, right? Like there were a lot of everybody who played in the rotation stunk, right? I don't have to rehash that. But Jarace's minutes were good. Like the whole time I was like half writing my game story, half paying attention to the third quarter. When Jarace came in, I was like, I'm watching this guy, just him, this whole fourth, get a good eval on what he's doing and how he's fitting in. And especially compared to his opener, where he looked really jittery and couldn't make anything, he actually looked good in this game.
Mm.
Another one-off thing, since you thought the threes thing might have never happened before. Do you think this has ever happened in NBA history before? A team loses by 51 and has less than 10 turnovers.
I'm going to say it's happened 3 times.
I don't have StatHead anymore because it costs money now. But I mean, I want to look that one up too. Like that,
yeah.
They actually took care of the ball. Like they tried to get good looks. They made none of them.
It's kind of wild. They didn't need to get more than 10 turnovers to score 155 on us.
They took 101 shots. Like that's
Jesus.
all right. That's okay. So that means from 2-point range, the Pacers were 41 for, I can't do math fast enough, 41 for 64. That's all right. It's not great. It's all right. That might be their highest of the season from 2. So, okay, they did well inside the arc. They never turned it over, and they never made a 3, and they never got fouled. That is not a
If this game was in the 50s, they would have won that one for sure.
This game was before Steph Curry was in the NBA. They would have won it. That could have been in the early 2010s. Yeah, it was so ugly that I don't even know what to say. They were so bad. It's like it's not even worth going through. Like they have to be better at this. They have to be better at that. They have to be better at everything. Everything that happened in the competitive portion of the game, the Celtics were significantly better. And if Tyrese Haliburton had played instead of losing by 50, they would have lost by 28. Right? Like they were that bad.
Yeah. Well, at least the games that Bali isn't showing are the ones that people don't want to watch. So that's good.
The Bally curse. Can we coin it that?
Yeah, it might have to be the Valley curse.
For everybody who's been affected by that, I'm so sorry. That
oh gosh,
that absolutely blows.
It is brutal. I hope everyone sticks with the Pacers.
Early in the season too, just such tough timing.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens to the RSNs for the league. Jhaq, I have other stuff I want to talk about with this Pacers season so far. Sitting at 2-2, one win I did not expect, one loss I did not expect given my early season predictions, and one complete blowout that has everybody reevaluating what this team could be. But a nice little cushiony next 4 games coming up. Cleveland, they already beat. Charlotte stinks. San Antonio stinks. Utah had a nice they're kicking Grizzlies' butt right now. I don't know what the score is as we speak, but last time I checked, they were up by like 35. If you had told me before today, by the way, to predict every NBA score, I might have gotten every game except the Pacers game wrong. It's been a weird night in the league. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the Pacers season so far. We're 4 games in. We've seen their best and their worst play. But first, I have to ask you something that I think people will think is interesting. Everybody on Media Row takes notes, stuff they want to ask about, stuff they want to write about. Jhaq, which rhymes with Shaq, and I keep saying it wrong, draws notes. Like I believe I remember I sat next to you for a game, and it was when Lance was on the team, and he had a sweet assist, and you drew the play. Like when did you start doing that? How does that help you remember stuff?
I chicken peck. Like I'm such a bad typer. Like, so I don't really like to type at all. And I've always been like a doodler in my notes at school. So it just kind of makes sense. And it keeps me like engaged and focused. I might be slow on a play or something because I'm drawing like the play before. But that's usually like the defensive end and there's not a ton to draw. But I think it kind of keeps me like focused. Then when I go look back at it, it all makes sense to me, like one big like treasure map of the game.
So you like if you see in your notes a play you drew, do you immediately remember it?
Kind of. There are also like context clues because like the pattern that I write in kind of flows. It's not always the same. Like sometimes I'll start in the middle and then build out like counterclockwise or go like a page. But it keeps me like involved with the game and keeps my ADHD on the line.
Do you save all of them?
Yeah. I got a nice laptop that I can draw on, so it just is in the whiteboard app.
What is the notes from this game just like the Pirates dead skull symbol?
Yeah, I gave up on the notes pretty early on this one. There isn't a lot to do. It would have been a lot of green.
Oh, you use team colors too? I didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
very visual. I like the colors and
I knew you
everything.
did Pacers colors.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting. I forget when I learned this, like in my life, but I learned that if you like write in all capital letters, like when you're actually writing stuff down, that helps you remember stuff because you like
Nice.
it takes you longer to do it. I used to do that when I took notes in school. I don't even write anymore. I just type stuff. But so I think there is something to like your non-standard way of writing or typing in terms of like memory and retention.
Yeah. It's definitely like a different kind of stimulus. So it's like I'm always on my keyboard like writing and typing, so like it logs it differently in my brain when I'm like at the game.
I would love to try it, but like it'd just be stick figures.
You would have to post that after. That would be so funny.
Well, I want to see yours now that you tell me you keep them all.
Oh yeah, I'll have to break out a few for the next one.
It's very cool. You can tell the Pacers lost by 50 when less than 20 minutes in. We're talking about how we take notes for games. So something interesting about this Pacers team to me has been how much they've been taken out of their style this season, right? Like they beat the Cavs even though they got slowed down. But I wrote about this. I didn't get too much time published before this Celtics game started. But like the Cavs in that fourth quarter before Haliburton wanted to kill that heckler, like the Cavs were slowing the game down and the lead went from 7 to 4 to 5 to 2. Like it was almost Cavs time until they held them off. The whole Bulls game was the Bulls speed. This whole Celtics game, granted, Haliburton didn't play, and he's a big part of this. In fact, when I asked Bruce Brown, how did the Pacers play faster? He said, give the ball to Tyrese Haliburton. You were there for that one, right?
Yeah.
Like you heard that. Yeah. Like they got to get the ball to Ty. So like the Celtics game, you can maybe throw out the window, but it has struck me a little bit that this team, one, their half-court net ratings, at least before the Celtics game, were like pretty good on both ends. But two, just like how much they've been taken out of their identity so far has been interesting to me. And the fact that they've had decent counters for that before today has also been interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, like when they get taken out of their pace, it's like seems like that's definitely the team's like main focus. And almost like going and getting guys like Bruce Brown and Obi Toppin, they're like, these guys want to play fast. It's almost like we show them exactly what we want to do. So there like needs to be some like disguise element or like a bit more creativity on getting our action and getting what we want, because it's just like just running straight forward into the wall doesn't apparently seem to be working because people will just slow it down. And I don't know. I was thinking like every time we foul, we just stop the way the game is playing and let them set up their defense and get back. And it just is the exact opposite of what we want. So like if we can not foul or just screw it, let them score, like don't even play defense, like just like here, take a 2, don't shoot this 3, we're not going to foul you, and then just get back on offense really fast. We could maybe just outscore them and just say no more defense.
Hey everybody, have to take a little break to talk to you about the wonderful people over at FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NFL is rolling. Colts stumbling, but still fun. Games back tonight. Steelers, Titans. It's all there on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. It's that simple. You do a $5 money line bet, you win. Boom. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. MLB World Series going on. Football has gone on. NBA has started. It's the best time. The NHL is rolling. The app is easy to use. They have a wide range of betting options, including spreads, over-unders, and player props. So visit FanDuel.com/lockdown and kick off the NFL season over on FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Yeah, against the Wizards, they were taken out of the net and then just sprinting down the floor immediately, right? And like we haven't seen that as much since then. Now the Bulls are very weird. As weird as the Bulls are, like they lost the Mavs tonight, they didn't look very good. As weird as the Bulls are, they are very uniquely equipped to like control the pace against the Pacers, because Caruso and Javon Carter are like the perfect like get in Haliburton's face 75 feet from the rim and just never get cooked by him guys. Like he'll still score a bunch and have a bunch of assists, but they're very well covered for that. But like the Cavs doing it as well as they did surprised me a little. I can't take much from the Celtics game, but Drew Holiday also very, very well equipped to do that to Haliburton.
He was ready to do it if Tyrese was there.
Right. So I think that like the Hornets don't have those guys. The Spurs don't really have those guys. We just saw the Cavs do it though. We'll see if they can do it in Gamebridge or if Haliburton even plays this weekend. But I have been surprised how much they've been slowed down. That's something, and then I guess negative if you're the Pacers, maybe positive in terms of growing as a team, though. Like Haliburton said at the draft lottery, we've got to be better. Like if we make the playoffs, we got to be better in the half court. Like every team is good in the half court who's doing well, and we've got to be better in that way. So maybe that'll be a long-term positive. Yeah. Another thing that's been interesting to me is before this game, a lot of before this game stuff, how well they were doing at the thing they said, taking away opponent threes, like top of the league in that. They were doing so well that the Celtics put it in their game notes. The Celtics sent out game notes after the game. It says the Celtics knocked down 23 pointers and shot 57.1% from beyond the arc. The Pacers entered tonight's game only allowing 9 threes per game, which was the lowest in the NBA. So it's only been 4 games. Now their numbers are going to look terrible. But they've done a good job of that specific adjustment, which is not something I expected from them, even though I think their defense has a lot of warts. Like they're installing some stuff that I think is important for them, which is weird to say because they just got their butt totally kicked.
Yeah. I think winning the 3-point battle is definitely a big one. Like definitely assist battle is something that they're going to be focused on a lot. So winning the 3-point battle, it's going to start on the defensive end, like first and foremost, because you can get stops out there and maybe a long rebound to an outlet or something, but also quick plays, because a lot of times it'll be like someone shooting really fast. So that is good. And I really want to see more of that. I would love to see how Jarace Walker would help with that, because he's so defensively gifted, and seeing him out on the perimeter on some guys out there, maybe we could see an even bigger improvement on that.
So I've brought this up before, and he played well today, so I'll just ask it now, related to this game. If you were the coach, would Jarace be in your rotation?
I've tried to do it a bunch of ways. I think he would be on my bench in the second unit. Okay. But then there are just so many different factors. If I were the coach, I'd be starting Buddy, just because bench Buddy is the furthest thing from it. And it almost feels like if he was starting, he'd be better, even though it might not be best for the team. So I don't know. There's so many different ways that this team could gel and go together that I'm not too concerned 4 games in that it might not be working right away. So I kind of have faith in Rick that the lineups will kind of come to him throughout the season.
Of my preseason rotation predictions, if you just switch which backup center it is, I'm pretty close on the minutes and who's playing with who, except for Jarace Walker. I had him in and playing a decent amount as the backup forward. He's not playing at all. And everything else makes a lot of sense to me. And basically all those minutes have gone to Neesmith, and some to Buddy Hield. Yeah, I would try to get him in there. It's hard, though. I get it, because clearly by the decisions they made, they're thinking long-term, right? Nemhard's in over McConnell. Backup bigs are younger. Right? A lot of young guy decisions. Mathurin starting. He's younger than Hield. But at the same time, they're trying to win, and they're doing a decent job of it. So how they balance this thing is just tricky. I don't want to rehash the rotation too much, but Jarace just played so well that I did want to bring it up again. And just brought it up. What else has stood out to you about this season?
The stadium has to be the most the most impressive thing to me so far. It looks so clean. The outside's so awesome. But team-wise, I guess that's just kind of
wait. I want to do an arena thing.
Oh yeah.
One, the All-Star signage just looks cool. 2, if you haven't gone to a Pacers game yet and you live in Indy and you can, they have this new thing where there's these blue and gold lights on the railings and the pathways between the seats that go off every time, I guess basically any basket. I haven't really figured out if it's every basket or just threes, but it's sweet. It's really cool.
Yeah. I went to the first game just with a group of friends, and that was the first thing one of my friends said was dude, look at these lights on the handrails. And I was like, whoa, these things are awesome.
It threw me off because I thought it was just like when they were doing the intros, they were flashing. I was like, oh, cool. Maybe it's just for the first game for the intros and stuff, but they've had them both games now. It's pretty cool. Anyway, team-wise, actual basketball.
I think, Jalen Smith has to be the most impressive thing so far for this season.
Compared to expectations, you mean?
Relatively to expectations. Well, it's just he's I was kind of counting him out, but he really put on a ton of muscle. He looks huge. He looks huge. And he's playing really well, and he's earning these minutes. I thought it was a toss-up between him, Dice, or Jackson for backup 5. So I'm happy that he's really coming into that role. I think, could I do biggest I don't know if it's biggest disappointment, but like I guess disappointment wise, I would love to see like a dominant Mathurin like performance. Like he feels like he's just been a little off since being in the starting lineup.
It's definitely harder for him to get his spot, like his
Mhm.
shots in the starting five. And the stuff they're teaching him and asking him to do will make him a better player, right? Move the ball,
Mhm.
make your decision right away. He likes to size things up right when he catches it and then attack. And that usually means go left and try to get to the rim. So he's trying to make that read like before he catches the ball. You can see that evolution, but it's a lot harder, I think, when he's playing with Haliburton for him to be that guy. And that's fine. That's important to the Pacers long term to figure out what he is next to Haliburton, which is why Buddy Hield isn't starting. But yeah, you have like I thought for a little bit, maybe the injury happened too early for this to happen. I thought for a little bit in the second half of the Bulls game, it was going to be that half, right? He had a couple drives, even after he rammed his head into the stanchion, where he was getting fouled and getting by guys. I was like, man, this looks like the early Mathurin from last year, but hasn't been there all the time, certainly. And I think that's I don't think that's on him. I think that's the product of the lineup he's a part of and how they're asking him to play. And I'll be curious how he kind of figures out where his spots are throughout the season. And
I will say,
totally agreed. He's been great. I had him out behind Jackson too. And I said on my show after the Bulls game, like, he's played so well that he could have like 3 or 4 bad games in a row. And I'm like, yeah, he still should be the backup 5. Like he's already
What's your biggest impression so far from this season?
You know, they're just still young to me. Like, I know that's hard to kind of wrap your head around because they're trying to be good and they want to be good. And because Haliburton is so good, they are mostly good. But like Mathurin and Toppin and Nembhard and Haliburton and Nesmith and their backup 5, that's 2/3 of their rotation, less than 4 years of NBA experience. Like they're very young. They do a lot of young team stuff, right? Like they foul a lot. They get too set on a certain shot or certain style in a possession, or they're defending poorly and reading the game too slow on the end of the floor. Like they're still playing like a young team that has the talent to be good. And so that kind of makes them inconsistent, right? And that doesn't surprise me. But I think that's been my impression, is that they're playing a little, even though they're good, and I think they're a better team than last year, they're playing younger than I thought they would out of the gate, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I definitely think
it's a boring answer.
They're definitely, they are young.
Young team is young, Jack.
Yeah. Breaking news. They are getting older with each passing day, though. So that is good.
Yeah. If only that's how it worked. Every day you got that much better. Every
you just
day
pick up a piece of basketball knowledge. Ooh, piece of basketball knowledge.
If only it was that easy. So I guess that's been my takeaway so far, because like I predicted 39 wins of their scheduled games. That's 40 if you include, I guess, the play-in games. Like it's only 4 wins better than last year. It's not like that much better of a team, but you know, I guess this game you could toss out without Haliburton. So they were 2-1 in the other 2 games, and we're 1 quarter away from undefeated. So like maybe I'm being too harsh on the inconsistencies throughout a game, but the Wizards game, they were dominant, and they haven't had like a dominant stretch since. And I think that would kind of make me feel better about them having like, oh, this is their fastball against a good team, if that makes sense.
We need to get Jordan Poole on more defenses we play. That'll help.
Yes, that would help. Like Haliburton at the end of the Cavs game was like, oh yeah, okay, like this is him. Yeah. He's the guy that this is their fastball. But he even said like he feels like he's coasting at times this season. He doesn't know why. He's trying to figure it out. Like I think that's right. And if he figures it out, that's great. I think that would help the Pacers kind of evolve from what I just said. So we'll see. They have, if Haliburton's out for multiple games, this is the time for it on their schedule. If they can get out of it at 500 or maybe 1 game under or over before he returns. Again, I have no idea how severe his ankle is. That would be great news for them.
Yeah. Gosh, I would love for him to be back as soon as possible, especially for the in-season tournament. The baby blue court won't look as good without him out there.
Is that your official color name choice?
I don't know. You could go a lot with the light blue.
I told you what my color is, right?
Yeah, cerulean.
I'm going with cerulean. Dustin Doperak's going with aquamarine. I think that's pretty good.
I know it's like too light to be a cyan, but I don't know.
You're the art guy. You should have all the colors like ready to go.
Yeah, well, color theory was never my stuff. I just like to throw stuff at the wall. Oh yeah, it's a whole class.
What?
Color theory, the mixing of all of the colors. It's an important thing for artists.
This is not worth the basketball.
No, it is not.
I am personally curious about this, but the listeners.
I'll bring a book for you at the next game.
I'll bring the Home Depot app and point it at the court, so it gives you the 3 closest paint options. And then I'll
it's just gonna say light blue.
No, but it'll be light blue number 0059, and then you go to Home Depot and you go find it. It's called something hilarious.
You can get one in your basement. You get your own court down there.
Oh yeah, let's get all the terrible ideas out of the way first, and then we can roll in with the good ones. Okay, I'm gonna get it right. Jhaq, there we go. Thank you for the time.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You and your work covering the Pacers for, what'd you say, 10, 15 home games this year?
Yep, right around that, and IU basketball as well.
That's right. The Mighty Hoos on Nuvo, right?
On Nuvo.
Jack's first game story from Pacers Bulls is up, plus more. We'll be back tomorrow with Chris Manning talking Pacers, Cavs, and everything you need to know about the in-season tournament. I've already explained it once, but it definitely requires explaining again, because there's pool play, and there's a quarterfinals and a semifinals and a finals, and there's prize money based on how far you get, and there's home and away games, and you can be a wild card team or not a wild card team. And there's your regular season games, except for one of them is not a regular season game. And you can make the quarterfinals without winning your group, but winning your group definitely helps you make the quarterfinals. And it's still East versus West. You got all that? We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Thank you all for listening today. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.